Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. All right, let's dive into this story like we're breaking it down for the channel. Because this trade between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers is shaping up to be one of the more fascinating narratives of the NFL season so far. On paper, when the trade first happened, it seemed fairly balanced. Minkah Fitzpatrick going to Miami, Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith heading to Pittsburgh, but the reality, the on-field performance, and the way things have unfolded suggest that the Dolphins might not just have gotten the better end of the deal, they might have completely outclassed the Steelers in this transaction. It all starts with Fitzpatrick, who has been nothing short of sensational for Miami this season against the New Orleans Saints at Hard Rock Stadium. Fitzpatrick not only recorded his first NFL sack in his 118th game, which is a milestone on its own, but he also made a game-defining play with a two-point conversion return after intercepting Tyler Shaw, a moment that very well could have secured the Dolphins' 21-17 victory. The impact of a single play like that in the context of a tight game cannot be overstated, especially considering the Dolphins' defensive unit has been consistently strong, sitting 14th in the league in pass defense and 23rd in total defense, which stands in stark contrast to Pittsburgh's struggles on both fronts, ranked 28th in pass defense and total defense. Meanwhile, across town in Pittsburgh, the players the Steelers acquired have not exactly lit up the stat sheet. Jonnu Smith, who in Miami was Tua Tagovailoa's go-to safety valve in the short passing game, is experiencing a shocking drop-off in production. Last season, he recorded career highs with 88 catches for 884 yards and 8 touchdowns this season. However, in 12 games, he has managed only 30 catches for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. To put this into perspective, Smith has yet to reach 30 receiving yards in any single game, and his season high of 5 catches came way back in Week 1. A stark contrast to last season's consistency, where he hit 5 catches and 50 receiving yards 8 times each. His quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, even called him out by name after a humbling loss to the Buffalo Bills at Acrisure Stadium, citing a wrong route as a reason for a missed opportunity. That is not the kind of leadership or reliability Pittsburgh was hoping to inject into their offense when they made this trade, and it is evident that sometimes production cannot simply be transferred from one system to another, especially when roles are reduced or shared with other talents like Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. Jalen Ramsey, while still a talented cornerback, has also failed to fully justify the hype for the Steelers, who have moved him to safety in an attempt to shore up a struggling defense. His numbers suggest he is far from the dominant force he once was. Out of 83 NFL safeties, Minkah Fitzpatrick is ranked second by PFF, while Ramsey sits at 33rd among cornerbacks, despite playing a hybrid role that should theoretically maximize his abilities. Moreover, when you look at game situations, Ramsey's tackles often come after large gains, highlighting a vulnerability that the Steelers' defensive scheme cannot seem to mask. The contrast in defensive impact between Fitzpatrick and Ramsey could not be more stark, and it reinforces the narrative that the Dolphins have not just gained a solid player, but a transformative presence in their secondary. Financially, both teams invested heavily in these players, but the return on investment is clearly tilting in favor of Miami. Fitzpatrick's performance has justified the contract, while Ramsey and Smith have struggled to meet expectations, leaving Pittsburgh in a position where they are not only paying top dollar for underwhelming results, but also losing ground in key defensive and offensive metrics. The Dolphins, on the other hand, managed to shed a player who had become a locker room headache while simultaneously adding a cornerstone defensive talent who has elevated the entire unit's performance. Miami's decision to hold the line on Smith's potential extension was strategic, considering his declining numbers in Pittsburgh, and the safety swap has proven to be a decisive factor in the trade's success. The narrative becomes even more compelling when we consider the broader implications for both teams. The Dolphins are now in a position of defensive strength, with Fitzpatrick anchoring a unit capable of creating game-changing moments and stopping opponents in critical situations. Pittsburgh, conversely, is still searching for consistency on both sides of the ball. Smith's inability to replicate his Miami production highlights the challenge of adapting talent to a new system, while Ramsey's shift to safety has yet to produce the desired stability. For Miami fans, this trade represents not just a win on paper, but tangible, week-to-week validation that their front office executed a masterstroke in player evaluation and acquisition strategy. It is also worth noting the psychological and leadership angles here. Fitzpatrick brings more than just physical skill. His presence on the field elevates teammates and forces opposing quarterbacks to think twice. A subtle yet invaluable form of influence that does not always show up in the box score. Meanwhile, the Steelers' new acquisitions have not brought the same leadership or momentum. A quarterback publicly calling out a receiver is never a good sign, and it reflects both the immediate frustration of a losing effort and the broader systemic issues in Pittsburgh's roster construction. These intangible aspects, the confidence boost, the morale impact, the sense of defensive security add layers to why Miami appears to have won this trade in a very real sense. Looking at the trajectory of the season, it is difficult to argue against the narrative that the Dolphins have come out ahead. Miami has maximized Fitzpatrick's abilities, integrating him seamlessly into their schemes, while Pittsburgh struggles to optimize Smith and Ramsey. The statistical evidence, the performance in key games, and the broader team implications all converge to paint a clear picture. This trade has worked out exceptionally well for Miami. It is a case study in identifying undervalued talent, mitigating risks associated with personality or contract disputes, and ultimately translating strategic decisions into on-field success. The lesson here, for teams and fans alike, is that trades are rarely just about the names involved. They are about fit, system, opportunity, and the often unpredictable alchemy of team chemistry. Miami took a calculated risk by acquiring Fitzpatrick and letting go of Smith, and that risk has paid dividends in spades. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, may have overestimated their ability to integrate Ramsey and Smith into their roster, and underestimated the immediate and long-term impacts of system fit and player usage. What looked like a balanced trade on paper has, with the clarity of game results and player performance, revealed itself as a lopsided victory for the Dolphins in the end. The Dolphins not only improved their defense with one of the most impactful safeties in the league, but they also avoided prolonging a potentially disruptive player situation in Smith, all while seeing immediate, measurable improvement on the field. The Steelers, while still possessing talented athletes, have yet to see the transformative impact they expected from Ramsey and Smith. And the contrast between the team's current standings and defensive performances only amplifies the sense that Miami stole the trade. It is a fascinating story of how strategy, execution, and player development intersect, and it will be intriguing to see if Pittsburgh can recalibrate and find a way to extract value from their acquisitions. But as it stands today, the Dolphins are the clear winners, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is the emblem of that success. A player whose impact goes far beyond statistics and who has already made this trade a defining moment of the season. This trade will be remembered not just for the names involved, but for the way the Dolphins capitalized on timing, talent, and opportunity, turning what could have been a standard player swap into a strategic masterstroke. Every interception, every key tackle, every moment where Fitzpatrick shifts the momentum in Miami's favor serves as a reminder of how trades can reshape a team's fortunes. While the Steelers may still have hope for the future, the immediate narrative is clear. The Dolphins got the better deal, and they got it in a big way, proving once again that in the NFL, astute decision-making off the field can be just as decisive as performance on it. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? Unbelievable scenes are unfolding in the world of the NFL, and fans are still trying to process the latest bombshell that has shaken the league to its very core. What started as a routine match, something many had already filed away in the standard week of football folder, has now exploded into a full-blown controversy with repercussions that could ripple through the sport for months, if not years. Rumors started to circulate almost immediately after the final whistle, whispers that something monumental was happening behind the scenes, something the league was hesitant to announce but couldn't keep under wraps for long. And now, the news has officially dropped. The NFL has reversed its earlier decision, declaring the Miami Dolphins the rightful winners of the game. The very notion of such a reversal has sent shockwaves through social media, sports talk radio, and of course, the passionate fan bases who live and breathe every pass, tackle, and touchdown. This isn't just any ordinary adjustment or a minor correction of a clerical error. We're talking about a full-scale, league-level review that apparently unearthed evidence previously overlooked or perhaps ignored during the initial ruling. Sources close to this situation have hinted at a series of contentious plays, referee misjudgments, and possibly even procedural oversights that, once re-examined under the microscope of modern replay technology and rule interpretation, demanded a complete overturn of the original outcome. Fans have been tweeting, posting, and even live-streaming their disbelief, with hashtags trending almost instantly as speculation ran rampant. What exactly did the NFL find that could justify this dramatic and almost unprecedented reversal? Insiders claim that the decision was not taken lightly, involving multiple layers of review, consultations with former officials, and even legal advisories to ensure that the move, controversial as it may be, would hold up under scrutiny. The Dolphins organization itself is reportedly still in a state of cautious euphoria. Team executives, coaches, and players have been inundated with calls, media inquiries, and messages from fans who can hardly believe their team has been handed a victory in such extraordinary circumstances. But while celebrations are brewing in Miami, there's an equally intense storm of speculation surrounding the other side of the coin. The opposing team's locker room is described by insiders as a scene of confusion and disbelief, with some players reportedly questioning how the reversal could even occur. Social media is ablaze with debates, memes, and heated discussions as fans from both camps dissect every angle, every potential scenario that could have led to this outcome. The emotional impact is palpable: heartbreak, vindication, outrage, and triumph all rolled into one extraordinary narrative that is now the center of the NFL universe. Rumors have begun to swirl even more aggressively regarding the why behind the league's decision. Some insiders suggest that the reversal may involve a key officiating error, perhaps a missed penalty, or a misinterpreted rule that, upon closer review, fundamentally altered the flow and fairness of the game. Others hint at something far more procedural, a technicality buried deep in the NFL's complex rulebook that only a handful of experts fully understand, which, when applied retroactively, could dramatically shift a game's outcome. Analysts and commentators are feverishly dissecting clips, looking for the subtle nuances in the plays that might have triggered such an unprecedented action. Every angle is being debated. Was it a scoring play that was misjudged? Was a critical turnover improperly called? Was the review system itself challenged in ways the league hadn't anticipated? The intrigue is endless, and the rumor mill is now operating at full capacity. The timing of this announcement has also fueled speculation. Why now? Why after days or perhaps weeks of silence? Some pundits argue that the NFL may have been meticulously building a case to avoid accusations of bias or error, ensuring that whatever statement they release would appear methodical and irrefutable. Others speculate that internal pressure from high-level league officials, team owners, or even broadcast partners may have accelerated the decision, making it a delicate dance between transparency, authority, and the imperatives of public perception. In every sports drama, timing is everything. And the release of this decision has proven once again that in the NFL, nothing is as straightforward as it seems. Fans have been combing through every word of the league's announcement, parsing phrases for hidden meanings, and trying to read between the lines. Some even speculate that this may set a precedent for future disputes, opening the door for more post-game reviews and retroactive changes that could fundamentally alter how the league operates moving forward. Amidst all the chaos, the Dolphins fanbase has erupted into a frenzy of celebration and disbelief. Social media videos show fans waving jerseys, chanting the team's name, and rewatching highlights in a kind of euphoric loop, as if trying to confirm that this surreal victory is, in fact, real. Meanwhile, critics are already questioning the implications for the integrity of the game, debating whether such post-game reversals undermine the authority of on-field referees and the traditional flow of competition. Sports analysts are weighing in, suggesting that this moment might be studied for decades as a case study in league governance, decision-making under pressure, and the unpredictable influence of technology and human judgment in professional sports. It's a conversation that goes far beyond a single game, touching on themes of fairness, accountability, and the very nature of victory in a league as fiercely competitive as the NFL. The ripple effect is undeniable. Merchandise sales are reportedly skyrocketing as fans scramble to commemorate what is being called one of the most controversial and dramatic outcomes in recent NFL history. Podcasts, live streams, and sports shows are dissecting every frame of video footage available, analyzing the sequence of events with a mix of fascination and incredulity. Rumors continue to proliferate about possible repercussions for referees, with some suggesting disciplinary action or mandatory retraining sessions, while others speculate that certain officials could be removed from future playoff assignments entirely. The NFL, traditionally cautious in its public communications, seems to be walking a tightrope between maintaining authority and acknowledging the extraordinary circumstances of this decision, a balancing act that only adds fuel to the already blazing fire of speculation. Meanwhile, betting communities and fantasy football enthusiasts are scrambling to recalculate odds and standings, trying to figure out how a post-game reversal might affect season trajectories, playoff seedings, and player statistics. Every stat line, every scoring summary, every highlight reel is being scrutinized anew, as if the game has been replayed in the collective imagination of fans everywhere. And while the league's official statement provides the factual backbone, the Dolphins are now the declared winners. It is the whispers, the rumors, and the speculative narratives that are taking on a life of their own. Every corner of the NFL world seems to be alive with conjecture, from casual fans discussing hypothetical what-ifs over coffee to seasoned analysts debating the philosophical and practical ramifications on cable news panels. At its heart, this saga is more than just a single game. It is a testament to the unpredictable drama of professional sports, where fortunes can shift in the blink of an eye, and where the boundaries between victory and controversy are often razor-thin. It reminds us that, even in a league as structured and meticulously regulated as the NFL, human judgment, technological oversight, and the relentless pursuit of fairness can collide in ways that captivate, frustrate, and ultimately enthrall millions around the world. The Dolphins' newfound victory, shrouded in rumors and speculation, will be dissected endlessly, debated passionately, and remembered as a watershed moment in the annals of football history. Whether one views it as justice finally served or as a provocative shake-up to traditional norms, one thing is undeniable: the NFL landscape has been irrevocably altered, and the conversation surrounding this game is far from over. As the dust settles, or at least as much as it ever will in a situation like this, the league, the teams, and the fans are left to navigate a new reality, one in which victories are no longer confined strictly to the final whistle, and where the echoes of controversy may reverberate for seasons to come. Rumors continue to fly about next steps, potential appeals, and even the possible influence this might have on rule changes or future league protocols. Analysts predict boardroom meetings, strategy sessions, and perhaps even legal consultations as the NFL considers the long-term ramifications of its decision. Yet through it all, the human drama, the sheer passion of players, coaches, and fans alike remains the beating heart of the story. In the midst of this unprecedented scenario, one thing is clear: in the NFL, history is never written in stone, and the narrative is never as simple as the scoreboard might suggest. And so, the Dolphins' declaration as victors has not just rewritten the result of one game, it has ignited a firestorm of speculation, discussion, and sheer disbelief that will dominate sports conversation for the foreseeable future. From locker rooms to living rooms, from analyst desks to online forums, the story continues to unfold, layer by layer, rumor by rumor, as everyone grapples with what has now officially become one of the most astonishing reversals in NFL history. It is a reminder that in sports, as in life, certainty is often elusive, controversy is never far away, and the line between triumph and upheaval can be as thin and dramatic as a single, decisive call. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!